Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com, and it's time for our weekly live Q&A. So big hello and welcome to everybody in the live chat. Big hello to all of you. A big thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel members. You guys really help support the channel. It really does mean a lot. With there's so many issues and stuff with Google and all the rest of it right now. So you don't know how much that means. So again, big thank you. So today's live stream, I'm doing things a little bit differently. Because it's D23 weekend, I've opened up the live chat to everyone, as long as you're a subscriber. I think you have to be a subscriber for about 10 minutes. It's just to kind of try and weed out any spam or anything like that. Also, as well, I have turned on slow mode. So what that means is that if you do make a comment, you will have to wait about a minute before you can do another one. Again, just to try and slow down on any spam or anything like that. I am monitoring the live chat as well. So what I'm going to be doing is all the Patreon and YouTube channel members have submitted questions in advance. I will be going through them, and I'll also be jumping in and out of the live chat. So this one's going to work a little bit different. I might not be able to answer everyone's questions. It depends on how many people are live in here. So that's but if you send in a super chat, that will definitely get answered. If you're a YouTube channel member, I will try and grab yours as well. But again, if it's a good question, I will try and do my best to answer it. Like I said, it's going to be open for a bit. I did start this one a little bit earlier just to allow a little bit more time for answering questions and stuff. So big hello to all of you. See quite a lot of you already in here. We've got Aaliyah, we've got Caleb, we've got Peter, Jose, Daniel, Bob Patrolling, Keenan, Scarlett, Steve, Jonathan. So big hello to all of you. Right. Okay, so the today is the D23 Ultimate Fan Reactions. I didn't really kind of think there was kind of a question, because there was a lot of questions about that one. So here's a good one from Taylor that kind of fits in nicely with what I was about to talk about. How are you liking the D23 announcement so far? So what I would like for you guys as well to be doing as well in the live chat, let me know some of the things you've been excited for from D23. So I did go over all of the showcase entertainment stuff yesterday. I did a bonus live stream because there were so many of them, so much announcements, and it was like I knew editing was going to be a pain on that because there was like so much stuff. I might do a little bit of a recap tomorrow on the main podcast. There's a lot of stuff that came out. Incredibles 3 was definitely the one that I think caught a lot of people off guard. Wasn't really kind of ready for that one. Really enjoyed the trailer for Skeleton Crew. It was exactly what I was hoping it to be, kind of an 80s vibe stuff. The Mufasa trailer and Moana trailer, well, we've kind of seen it before, so it wasn't really anything special. Win or lose, looks okay. Still not convinced it's going to be the best thing. It looks okay, but I don't know. It's softball. It can win me around, but the premise of it is not kind of filling me with a lot of hope. The Marvel stuff, Daredevil is definitely the one I think is going to be pretty cool. I think that's going to be a great series. And Ironheart definitely seems to be a series that, a little bit like Agatha and Skeleton Crew, automatically kind of a lot of online reaction to this. I think we're at a point now, especially with Star Wars, I don't think they could do anything and it will please everyone. I just think we're at a weird point with Star Wars right now where in some way, I wouldn't say they have to ignore the feedback because they do need to listen to it. But I think they do have to be a bit careful of not skewing it too much, but also not listening to it as well, because otherwise we'll just get the Acolyte Season 2. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Leah says, not long to be able to stay. My sister will be visiting for lunch and I'll catch up on the replay. Yep, yours pre-questions in there. There's a lot of stuff as well announced last night at the showcase. That was the Horizons one, which was the theme park one. A lot of fans not happy with the way the live stream happened. I did try and get into Fortnite today, and I just was greeted with a black screen inside of the big arena. Couldn't get it to work, so I'll try that again later. But Kenneth says the announcements were great. I just hope 2025 is a decent year. When D23 happened in 2019, the next year we had a global pandemic, and after 2023 were the strikes. I hope so. I mean, I think sometimes those things are just outside of their control, but also as well, they did a much better job of setting expectations because they were only mainly focusing on stuff that's out in the next 18 months, most of which is filmed. I think they were a little bit I think they got a bit carried away with announcing stuff too far in advance. And I think, in fairness, focusing on like the next 2 years is really what these presentations need to do a little bit more of, instead of like, yeah, I mean, the Horizon one was a bit different, but I think with entertainment, we don't need to know about a movie coming out in 5 years' time. I mean, they did do a little bit of that with obviously Incredibles and Frozen 4 and stuff, but no. Keelan had a concert last night. I must admit, I was a bit tired. There was a long day, very long. I'm glad to be back to like normal hours tomorrow. So some of the top 10 announcements from the Disney experiences. So we've got the expansion of the Disney Cruise Line. So they're going to be adding another 4 vessels between 2027 and 2031. That means there's going to be 13 ships now in the fleet. I'll be honest, this for me is really good. I've definitely turned into a Disney cruise person, and the more locations they go to, the better. The more options they've got, the better. Whether or not it brings down the price, I don't think so. But also as well, like some of the older ships, like the Magic and the Wonder are probably coming to the point where they've probably only maybe got like 5-10 years maybe in them left, unless they kind of just go on just for summer only, like in Alaska or something. But I'm looking forward to it. When they start touring around Japan, start touring around Asia, and I think we're basically at a point now. There's going to be one in Europe, one in Asia, and they'll just be going around all over the place, which would be great. Rotate the ships around it, make it a little bit different. So that was definitely the one for me that I like the look of. Monsters Inc. at Hollywood Studios, great new area there. I think that desperately needs it. Cars, we're gonna have 2 new rides in an area going to Magic Kingdom in there, and Villain Island. So Magic Kingdom getting loads of new rides and stuff. Nice to see that one coming on board. Tropical Adventures at Animal Kingdom. We're gonna have the Encanto and the Indiana Jones. What is really kind of a bit frustrating with a little bit of this is some of this stuff was kind of blue sky at the last D23, and they've kind of, I think they're at a point where they're having to like actually deliver on this, because there was a lot of this stuff which they've talked about in the past. There's things happening at Frozen at Paris, and also Avatar at in California Adventure. They also got a new Spider-Man ride going in Shanghai. It's cool. There's another Spider-Man attraction going into Hong Kong, which is cool. The new Lion King area in Disney Adventure World, aka the worst part they've got. I'm not sure they should be doing it the live action version of the Lion King. I think they should be doing it the classic version. I don't really be like that. Keenan says, how long would be the stay after people board? What do you mean by that? Do you mean on board a ship? Depends. I mean, the thing is with cruise ships, you really depends. You can go on 3-night ones, 4-night, 5-night, 6-night, 8-night, 10 nights, 12. Every cruise is a little bit different. We did the first one we did was a UK one. It was in the middle of the pandemic. Disney actually sent over one of their ships, and we couldn't leave. We couldn't leave the country. We were basically, you were all locked in. But we booked on a trip for that summer, and we were able to go out off just the coast of France. We didn't go anywhere. We literally went out on a boat for 2 days and then came back, and it was like our first cruise. Loved it, and that was kind of got in. So that was that, and also it was great in the pandemic. It was just nice being out the house. So that was good. Right, let's see. Let's see what else we've got here. So let's start off with some of the questions. Again, if you've got a good question, feel free to pop it in the live chat. If you've got a super chat as well, that's more likely to go through. Babak says, I think the reasons why Disney is pushing out ABC playlists on September the 4th is because they're hosting the presidential debate on September the 10th. That is definitely one key aspect. I think is also they just know there's a lot more people watching the news in the US over the next couple of months in the build up to the election. I know I'm like that. I would kind of end up watching it and you kind of get sucked in on it all. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? Of if you watch too much of it, it just drives you nuts. So I wouldn't recommend watching too much of it. Elias says, what was your favorite announcement from D23? So I think, like, in terms of my favorite, again, from the park side of things, I definitely think the cruise line is more of what I'm going to notice. We might, I'm probably at a point now where we're going to be going to the parks a little bit less and less frequently. I love the fact that Disneyland Paris is getting a few bits and pieces, nothing compared to Walt Disney World. But Walt Disney World needs an upgrade. You got Epic Universe coming down the road. Also, they've just not really kind of announced anything, really. So Sina says, when is Incredibles 3 coming out? Don't know. We've got no idea. We could be looking at, I'm guessing, 27, 28. We've still got Zootopia 2, Toy Story 5, Frozen 3. That's all got to come first. So you're probably looking, again, a good 4 or 5 years, I'd imagine. Some of the other my favorite announcements from D23. It's a bit of a weird one, really. It feels like we've had, obviously the 2 panels were big and lots of news come out of that, and I think those 2 definitely delivered. But I'm a little bit, I don't know. It's felt very weird. Of like, there's not been a lot of information coming out like during the days. I think with them moving the panels to the evening, there's just not been a lot of like excitement. I mean, they're not live streaming. There's not really any social media stuff. It's a very weird process. I do think it is odd how, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it definitely feels a very quiet. It doesn't. I say quiet. They definitely hit all the big stuff in the big panels that they've done. But obviously tonight is the Legends night, so that doesn't really apply the same thing. There won't be any big things that way. But yeah, it's like now I was like looking to see if we were going to get anything for the Tiana series. It doesn't look like it. I will check again in a bit. Leon says more franchises, more profits, surely. But did Disney's Plus shows like Doctor Who contribute to streaming profits? Well, the streaming profits will come from a number of different inputs. First off, obviously, you've got people signing up for that particular show. You've got people that are just staying subscribed because they've got content to watch. And then you've got money raised from advertising. So it's kind of hard sometimes for them to work out what it is. The thing is as well with Doctor Who is, A, it's a cheap show to make, and also they are only co-financing it. So therefore, it doesn't, it's kind of one of those weird things of, I don't know what it's costing. Right. I haven't got a clue. But let's say, for example, what if Doctor Who is costing 1/10 of an episode of The Mandalorian to make, right? For them to do, right? So therefore, they only need they only need to have like 1/10 of the viewership to make it equally valuable. So I think that's kind of the counter argument, the whole thing with Doctor Who and stuff, is that it could kind of, the expectations of what it has to do is much lower if it's costing them a lot less. Mamo says, since Disney announced the continuous playlist, which will only be available in the US, why do you think they won't launch it internationally? I do think the curated playlists will probably end up rolling out globally. It might be a little bit more tricky because they'll have to put in like other things. I do think the curated playlists will be rolling out globally at some point. How they do it, I don't know. It seems like an easy thing for them to do. I think we probably will see that one. As far as ABC News Live, that one's a little bit more tricky. Now, obviously, I watch ABC News Live a little bit. I only watch it in bits because it's very repetitive. They kind of just keep repeating the same. It's like that with any news channel. You just find, you tune in for like 20 minutes, you get the gist of it, and then that's kind of it. The problem with news is, like, say, for example, like here in the UK, if they were to put it on Disney Plus, they would have to come under certain rules for impartiality, so they wouldn't be allowed. So rules and like news and documentaries come under different rules here in the UK. So every country is going to have different rules and stuff. So certain if news sways one side more to the other and is more like Fox tried to put it that it's entertainment, that wouldn't fly in the same way. They would have Ofcom, so there definitely would be rules in here. So I suspect it's more about the fact of there might be legal issues and stuff, and it might just put them at risk of other situations that maybe just not worth it for. And ABC News is very much just US centric news anyway. So I mean, I would love it to be included in there. I think it would be useful. But I'm someone that likes watching the news. But then I like watching different networks. I don't like just watching one. I like watching bits and pieces. I had to get different views on it. Keenan says D23 Expo is officially the end of an era for Disney 100. Could we see a Disney intro logo for the movies? I don't think so, because I think the one that they've done, this new one with the big, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And all they've done is just taken the 100 off of it. And I think it's good enough. I think why change it? It's beautiful. It's probably cost them a lot of money to do. Use it for a few years. There is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, as long as they take off that 100, it's fine. And I think that whole like castle opening is just beautiful. I remember the first, well, it was at D23 last time I saw it, and the literally was like, ooh, like why? Babak says, we saw a lot of new announcements from the parks. How long do you think we'll start seeing those updates? A lot of them, I think, are starting in 2025. They are kind of, some of the stuff is already moving in terms of like getting rid of or starting to dig. I think they are very much aware that they have to be seen to be doing stuff. Yeah, and I think that's definitely something that they need to, that they are very much aware of, and they made very much reference to the fact that they are building stuff, and the stuff that they announced is not blue sky, and they are building this stuff. They really did just, well, there's a couple of different ways really, because I think you can look at it like between the pandemic and I'll be honest, the whole situation in Orlando with Governor DeSantis, I can see why they just basically just hit the big pause button on everything. And then with Iger coming back, then trying to save billions of dollars, he just hit the pause button. And I just think it's a combination of all that, just saw all of it kind of coming in. Let's jump into the live chat. Let's see what we've got going on here. The one that I think about confirming, ABC News is on 24/7, so you can watch it without Disney Plus. That's definitely that's how I watch it. That boy, he says, hopefully cruise line prices go down a little bit as they add more ships to the fleets. I saw a few people talk about this, and it's kind of weird because that ain't gonna be how it works. Prices don't go down. The only time prices generally go down is due to, it's usually a particular product is got a shelf life and they need to clear it. So therefore, they have to, a product is going out of date or anything like that. The only other thing is, like with cruise lines, obviously this is where it comes in. You might be able to get more chance of getting a last minute deal a little bit cheaper, because then they're going to have more rooms. But you look at like the Royal Caribbean and stuff, they have got so many cruise lines and stuff. So it's kind of, I don't know. And I think as well as they get more expensive, it might bring down prices, or I don't know if it will bring down prices. It might just help stabilize the price so they don't keep going up. Because a Disney cruise is very expensive. It's very expensive as well compared to other cruise lines as well. No doubt about it. You can look at any of the cruise lines, and you can do it a lot cheaper. That's not Disney. Now there are advantages and disadvantages. You know what quality you're going to get on a Disney ship, but you are paying for that privilege. But also as well, it depends really with the cruise line, because there's only probably so many they can run out of, or like Florida. So probably going to end up seeing one set in like Galveston over the summer from Texas to kind of get people there. Maybe one going from California as well, of kind of doing that route in the summer, because obviously at the minute the one goes up to Alaska, so they tend to leave that coast. We're definitely probably going to have one then pretty much guaranteed now in Europe every summer. There'll be one probably doing Australia and the Pacific, probably one maybe doing like Hawaii. Then you're going to have one from Singapore. You're going to have one from Japan. They might even put one in the Middle East. They're then going to have options to kind of have, different seasons in different places and longer seasons. I don't, maybe they go out of Miami. Maybe they also go out of So they're going to have different options and stuff, but I would expect them more to start spreading out, because at the minute, I think they put like 3-4 of their ships in the summer in like Florida to go to the Caribbean, but it'll allow them a bit more space to jump around a bit. Chris says, with the announcement of the price increase in October, that's for Disney Plus, just how much higher do you think they can charge before people say enough is enough and cancel? I'm not going to lie. I did think the price rise for dropping the price rise the night before the announcement that they made a profit was a little bit sneaky. I think we're at a point where we have to expect that everything is going to go up annually. I think what's going to happen probably next year now, because now they've done this, is next year they're probably going to be able to hide it a little bit better, because when they do the merger with Hulu and Disney Plus, they can then like do woohoo, we've merged it together and it's $10.99 or $11.99 or whatever it is, and that'll be the way of kind of getting it. The thing is, it's not just Disney, but it's also with Netflix and Amazon and everybody else creeping up their prices. Everyone is going to get to a point where how many can you subscribe to? And yeah, there is going to be a point when everyone kind of looks at something and goes, am I getting my value out of that? I know I've done it. I've been doing it. I made sure I looked at a point sometimes like I went, well, I've got Spotify, but I really should just use YouTube Music, because why am I paying for both? Because I've been using Spotify for so long. I'm like, I don't need it. I could get rid of it. That saved me 120 quid. And there's like little things like that of just like, you start looking at it. I was there going, right, I got rid of my Xbox, so that saved my Xbox thing. I downgraded my PlayStation Plus, and it's all those kind of things. And like, you start looking at all of them and you start going, do I really need all of this? Do I really need it all? But no, I do think there is a point, and people are gonna. But I do think the problem is when the US is, once Disney Plus gets sorted with the Hulu side, I think there's a much more content dropping in. It's been very dry for Disney Plus in the US. I'll be honest, if you were a Disney Plus subscriber in the US, I see what they're just put. If you didn't have Hulu, you'd be like, what are you like? If you're getting not a lot, and I do think the price is a bit ridiculous. Fulton asks, any updates on the show for Phineas and Ferb? No. So there was, I didn't really hear any news. There was nothing even mentioned in a press release. So maybe if you were at the panel, you got to hear a little bit about it. I have heard nothing about any announcements or anything that came out of it. This is the kind of the weird thing with these, the panels. There's not a lot of information coming out of the ones outside of the big boy. Daniel says, will Disney Plus have the same password after adding live channel? Yeah, because it's the same account. You're still being Disney Plus. Kenny says, I'm never surprised on video streaming prices going up due to inflation, content, and profit. The simple truth is, if you think just outside of Disney and outside of streaming, how much stuff is gone up in price in general? And this is a global problem. I know sometimes, like I've seen, like with like some news channels and stuff, they seem to indicate that it's only in one country. This is happening all over the place. The price of cola has gone up. The price of milk's gone up. The price of a holiday has gone up. Your rent has gone up. Your water's gone up. Your energy's gone up. Your car's gone up. Everything has gone up in price because of inflation. And it's just, we've got inflation on inflation. And also a lot of this as well is catching up with the impact of the pandemic. We all close, you can't close down for like the amount of time that everybody did and it not impact on the books. Bobatronic says, do you think Disney will add the Fox animated playlist? Maybe in the future. I have a feeling that the playlists are going to be very, very basic by the looks of it. And I did think that the idea that this was a bonus feature to warrant the price rise was a load of BS, to be honest. It was like, really? You're giving people a live channel that you put out on YouTube and one curated list and 4 more to follow. That's literally just a playlist. And that ain't worth $2. It ain't worth anything. It's a nice feature, but it ain't worth an upgrade price. That boy says Disney Plus Max bundle is really good. I would get it, but I also like having ESPN Plus, which isn't included in the bundle. Yeah, but then of course, what they're going to want you to do, They're new sports. That's what they're going to want you to get, and then you get all of it. You're going to get all of it in one place. Just going to go up have a quick look here at any questions and stuff. See if we've got anything else. Jose says, "How are you?" I'm good. I've had a bit of a. I did a lot. I got up early. Did like 4 or 5 hours working. Went for a drive. Chilled out this afternoon. Watched the new movie that was on Apple TV. That was with Matt Damon. That was all right. That was the plan. Daniel says, "Is South Park on Disney?" I don't think it's on. I don't think it's on either of them. Where's the thank you very much, Chris, for becoming a member or being a member for 13 months. Thank you so much for your continued support. That is really good. Alzonza says, "Where's Robots Director's Cut?" No idea. Might need to ask. Is there one? I thought the only person that seemed to like doing director's cuts now was Snyder. There's no chance. No chance I'm gonna watch that. Was it Rebel Moon? I watched both movies. It's like they were awful. I'm not gonna watch an extended version of it. I don't know how many times people say it's better, but you burnt me once. Let's see what we've got here. Tim says, were there any reports of Incredibles 3 in the works before the D23? I mean, there's been lots of like rumors and stuff, but to be honest, it was a bit of a surprise. I think no one really expected it, but also, I mean, let's be honest. There's so many people on like Twitter and social media just coming up. I could sit here and say, right, there's going to be a Luca sequel. There's going to be a Coco sequel. There's going to be a Raya and the Last Dragon sequel. I only need one of them to come through, and then I then go, I said that. I said that. Basil said, "Any thoughts on the upcoming films? My opinion, looking forward to them, but hopefully next year more original animated films on the presentation." I think they are trying to find the balance of, if they're putting out 3 animated movies a year, that will give them scope to do maybe 1 original and 2 franchise. They have to do the franchises because that's where they make the money. And also, you can do an original movie, but it doesn't always do that well. And they know they have to do them. They always want, they want to make more franchises. They want to make bigger stuff. They know they have to do it. We know we're going to be getting, we got Elio coming up, and we've got, not Burrow, Hoppers. We got Hoppers and stuff. We definitely, and as Keenan says, Disney fans shouldn't expect sequels all the times. We need originals, and I think they've got to balance it a little bit more. I do think we had a bit of a run where Pixar was making too many movies that were like, I wouldn't say passion projects, but some of them, we had like Turning Red and Luca and Soul and Onward. And I don't know if should we put Lightyear if it was a little bit different, but they put out like 4 or 5 non-original or original stories back to back to back, and they didn't click the same way. But sequels do, they will pick up as they go along. It's like here, I can see here now. So one thing I would have liked would have been a Baymax Hero sequel. I would have loved that. I'm just gonna I've got my my Baymax figure standing. This is a massive, great big. This is like a Disney Infinity toy figure. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of Big Hero 6. Don't play with your toys while you're trying to do a live stream, because otherwise you lose it all. There's an ET. They will just go flying. Anyway, yes. There we go. I wrote and drew incredible 3 characters as well. Okay, cool. Keenan, there used to be a Disney Toon Studio that made animated sequels that were mostly straight to video, but only once in a while theatrical. Yeah, they kind of trimmed back a little bit. I think, again, they were looking for that was kind of quality over quantity, and those kind of ones were like cheap entertainment, but also like straight to DVD movies kind of used to be a market for it. And unfortunately, streaming, there's the market for it, but it doesn't make any money. And I think that's what they're finding. And you can look at Inside Out 2. Look at the Minions. Look at some of these movies, and you're like, look at the money they're making, and you think, why would you want to why would you not want to make some money off of it? That's kind of the thing, really, isn't it? Why wouldn't you want to? So Suna says, do you think Disney will have all the anime from Hulu by next year? I wouldn't like to say so. I think there's going to be some licensing issues, a lot of it with like the Crunchyroll things. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Baba says, do you think that Disney Plus will merge with Hulu by next August? So next year, there is going to be a point when Comcast and Disney are expected to close the final deal. There's a little bit of an argy-bargy over who's going to have to pay what. Disney doesn't think they owe anything. Comcast wants more money. Arbitration, trying to find money in the middle, and they've got to come to an agreement. It's going to get sorted, and it definitely feels like we're in a point now where Disney can't move forward with the plan. What they've done is they've put Disney Plus or Hulu into Disney Plus with that little hub. So by the time it comes about, we will be used to it more and more. But it's very noticeable that in none of the press releases, they never mention it is also available on Hulu or Disney Plus. None of the trailers, none of the posters have that logo on it. They're still keeping it very, very separate because there's probably some legal issues for it. Kirsty says, do you think they'll ever do an upgrade to the app in the UK, maybe add more hubs? I mean, I'd love there to be. And I do get the idea that if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I think the app does work reasonably well, but they needed a whole new overhaul to give it more algorithm, more curated, a little bit more like automated, so it kind of doesn't show you stuff. Because it's like today, we fired it up, and it were like, I've seen that, I've watched that, and it's like the algorithm on YouTube generally doesn't show me videos to watch again because it knows I don't watch videos again. So I would like if I fire up Disney Plus, the app doesn't show me, oh, why don't you watch The Bear? Well, I've already watched The Bear. Or why don't you watch this? Well, I've already watched it, so I'm not interested. So, or maybe like, why do you keep showing me Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Bluey? Have I ever watched Disney Junior shows on my profile? No. Why do you keep? And just because I watched Deadpool 2 doesn't mean I want to watch Bluey next. When it comes up on the day, it's like their algorithm really needs a good upgrade. Really does. Chris says, do you feel that Comcast is being greedy with how much they want for Hulu? I think the term greedy is probably the wrong answer for this one, because ultimately a corporation is there to make money. And a corporation is there, it exists to make more money, and the people at Comcast have a duty to their shareholders to get as much revenue from their stake of Hulu as they can. It is not greed, it's business. And you can put it in like, oh, well, they're just being greedy. Why don't they just because it's not in their interest to. Why would you want to? There's no benefit for them to make a deal with Disney to give it to them a bit less. What do they get out of it? It's like anything, isn't it? If you've brought a property with somebody and you own a third and they own 2/3 of it, and it's been valued and you've sold it, I do think the valuation system was a bit odd with how they've done it. But yeah, I do think it was a little bit there. Francis says, I wrote my own Godzilla Monsterverse called Dawn of Earth Defenders collection. Good. Writing stuff, good. Always nice way to have a creative output. I did watch the King of Godzilla and King Kong movie, the new one. Really enjoyed it. So Susan says, I don't like The Bear because they overswear it and say the F word 7 times in one sentence, and I find it annoying, but I find it's an occasional swear. Don't watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I mean, I think it's down to everything, is a personal choice. And if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's carry on with some of the pre-done questions. Kayla says, is the cruise line division under parks? Yes. I remember Disney saying that they're despite theatrical and streaming doing well, the parks division will face a downturn. So this is some of this as well is due to the economic climate. We've all been squeezed. You know, we had that huge burst of everyone going crazy after the pandemic, where we all just wanted to get out and we wanted to enjoy life, and we all wanted to have, you know, it was like pandemic revenge, you know, and we all wanted to get out. Well, the prices have all crept up, and that is causing people to question, do we go? Disney have got a little bit carried away with the price rises on the hotels and on the park tickets. And then they had the whole fiasco with like the reservation system and the mobile phone stuff, and taking all the stuff away from the parks if you stayed at the hotels. And they were just chipping away at all the little bonuses and freebies and stuff that were included. And you were spending a fortune. So it wasn't freebies, you were included in the cost. Nickel and diming people. And people have got to the point where they have had enough, and they're starting to look at going to Disney going, that's going to cost me too much money. I've done it where it was like, do we do this, or should we just go on a, you know, we can go on a, you know, we can go on a normal week's holiday for a lot less. So I think that it's a motor layered problem, because also as well as it's like going to Orlando, like for me to go to Orlando, the price of the flight has gone up, the price of the hotel has gone up, the price of the hotel at the airport's gone up, the price of the parking at the hotel, the price of the food, the price of the, you know, your visa, everything has just gone up and up and up and up, and it's going. I know if everyone does a 10% rise, the whole thing just goes up, and yeah, I think that is a big problem. Tim says, what did you think of the first look image for Toy Story 5? I thought it looked really good. I'm loving the idea that the toys are having to come to terms with the idea that Bonnie's distracted by an app. The logic thing is now is in reality, I mean, they're probably not going to do the story where they get to the point where like, right, this kid's on the app, she's lost now, we're in the box. That's it now. We'll wait 10 years and then we'll get sold off or given away. This is reality. It is, and no matter what there is about it, is kids, once they get hooked on tablets, they don't want to play with toys and stuff, and that's just not really going to be anything different, really. Elias says Inside Out 2's digital date is August the 20th. Yeah, I am guessing that Disney Plus date will be the same day as Blu-ray, September the 10th. I don't know. I think it's going to be a little bit before that. I think it might, because sometimes it doesn't always arrive on the same day. Keenan says, will Disney have price rises for the streaming service every year? I'd assume so. Ammo says, since Disney is launching ABC News Live on September the 4th, will Disney make ABC News content available to all subscribers, or will they keep them under Hulu on Disney Plus? Yeah, Hulu. I think the Live will be available to all subscribers. There's no reason to lock it out. Basil says the reactions. Actually, we'll do a question on this. I'm interested to see what you think. Let's do a question. Let's start a poll. What did you think of the Snow White trailer? Loved it. Why am I worrying about? Loved it. Meh. Hated it. Not sure. Right, so like my reaction, the reactions to the Snow White trailer have been very mixed, as you might expect. I don't think it was any different than it was going to be. I think we pretty much knew that this trailer was going to come out and it was going to be like, like Marmite. People were going to love it, people were going to hate it. I do think Disney's done the right thing of getting it out now, so it's got like 6 to 8 months now in the sphere, so that people's minds can be like changed a little bit. So if you were like, I hate it, I don't want to watch it, I don't like it, then you can, that trailer might turn you. It might make you feel a bit more like, oh, well, they are doing it more like a classic swing, so it might not be so harsh on it. But we've also got something else as well. This trailer is going to allow them to collect some data. And so they're going to be able to do a little bit more data collection. They're going to be able to work some stuff out. But also what this will do is this is going to dictate how much they spend on advertising. they're going to be able to, if they feel that, you know, they can then just be like, we're not going to put a lot of advertising into this. We're just going to let it go. It's going to, you know, if they feel that the tickets aren't selling well or whatever it is when they go on sale, they can adjust their plans accordingly. But I think having it out there is going to help distract from the fact of a lot of people not liking it or not liking what they thought about it. But a lot of what we thought about it might have been completely wrong. I'm not going to lie. I never really thought it was a good idea to do it. I've had enough of the live action remakes. I thought the trailer looked a bit AI, kind of glossy. It didn't really, I don't know, it just didn't, it's something about it. I don't like the look of it. It looks very colorful and it's fine, but I don't know. My simple truth is, if I never see this movie, will it make a difference? It might be really good. Daniel, whatever the question that last one is, but no, you just need to simplify it into a simple question rather than just giving me lots of like random stuff because I can't understand what that question is. Looking at the poll so far, most of you, well, actually, yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, nearly half of you loved it, and there's nearly half of you are like, not sure. Babak says, do you think the new ABC playlist will be a hit? And will there be a new hub like Hulu and Max? I don't know where it'll be. It might just be on the homepage where there'll be like these curated lists. Again, we're only getting news, ABC News, and a Disney Junior one to begin with. And then they're going to add 4 more for premium subscribers. They seem to be dodging the name channel very much. Like they don't want to get into trouble with their cable companies or something like that. It's a curated playlist. It's not a channel. And I'm seeing a lot of people like now of asking, you know, for like, they're thinking a TV channel of, you know, like 24/7, you know, one show on repeat. That doesn't look like that's what that is at the minute. They might do it in the future, but at the minute, it's not really, that's not what they're doing. And ultimately, all it is just a playlist of just shows just running. Are Disney Plus curated playlists an alternative to just having live stream channels? Again, this is where this like weird thing of they're not calling them channels. They're not doing it. They don't want to get into that. It might be because of the cable deals and all the rest of it. But again, they're not live channels. The thing is with these like the ABC News is a live channel, but the other one's, you know, a fast service. If it's just, you know, like one show, and I think they want to try and distinguish this like terminology of the fact of what's live and what isn't. You know, we're not getting a direct live stream of the Disney Junior channel. Babo Trolling says, why did Disney make the Didn't Rise the ad-supported bundle by $2 instead they raised it by $1? The price rise was a bit odd with how they did it, definitely. I'm surprised they did do the price rise for the ad version. It's a bit weird with how they did that. Tim says, what did you think of the trailer to Win or Lose? Loved it. Snow White, meh. I go for all along. I'm kind of digging it. I think it could be a lot of fun. It looks like it's gonna be a good, fun, easygoing one. Moana 2 looks really good. Mufasa, the second time I watched it, I was like, I'm not sure about this. Again, I think it's the same thing with Snow White. It's like, I just don't get it. I don't get the point of it. And Skeleton Crew, I think that looks really good. Kelly said, what are your thoughts on the investors call? So this was last Wednesday, a very weird one. Obviously, the big news that Disney was kind of not in profit, but the streaming division was now profitable was a big thing. The parks warning was just a kind of a general thing. I think that's like the economy and stuff. There wasn't really anything major coming out of it. Most of it, but yeah, it was all right. There wasn't really anything massive there. Barback says, I noticed when you download stuff on Disney Plus, it now shows an extended button above the delete. It's like the Hulu where downloads are now only in your device for a period of time. Yeah, that would make sense. I would make you only download it with a license, and then therefore a lot of that as well is to do with like making sure that say you download Moana, and then you unsubscribe. The app has got a way of kind of if you're offline of going, oh, the date has gone past this date. Therefore, I think that's probably what it is. Mamad says, what did you think of the new format for the earnings call? Much improved. They just went straight into Q&A, didn't sit there and read out the press release. Perfect. I think that was a really good option. Bubba Trolling says, how can Disney Plus increase viewership for 50 plus to 79 viewers? So this is obviously an age. Let me know your thoughts on this as well in the comments. So I think the simple truth is Disney Plus, let's just say Disney Plus US right now, if you are a user in your 50s to your 80s, what is on there that's going to attract you? What is going to bring you in to watching Disney Plus right now? Now, you might be a Marvel and Star Wars fan, but there's a lot, I will kind of say, there's probably less in that age group than in other age groups. My dad will love anything Star Wars, and he will watch a bit of the Marvel stuff. My other in-laws, no. So there's that thing. They'll have stuff for the kids, for the grandkids to watch and kids and stuff. But Disney Plus US right now, what is on there to justify you? There's nothing being released on there for you. You've got the big movies, and that's great, and that's going to keep people in. But there's that. And I know some people are going to bring up the nostalgia point of like they should bring back this and I do think the big way that Disney could really help trying to reach this audience is really reaching back into the archive and pulling some stuff out from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s, etc., all from the 20th century studios and Disney, and load it up with movies and shows from the past. Doesn't matter if kids, if you want to build this audience up, you're going to have to give them the stuff that they want to watch. A 79-year-old does not have nostalgia for Chippendale Rescue Rangers and doesn't have nostalgia for, whatever everyone's, like Jake and Never. They don't care about that. They're not, but they're going to remember the shows that they watched when they were younger, but also they are going to probably be more inclined to watch older movies that is from when they were younger, and that they will enjoy. Also, you're going to have shows that will appeal to them. I think the Hulu aspect and the Star side, when you've got like shows coming in, like what I call more traditional TV shows, like your Grey's Anatomy, your like your CBS kind of shows, NCIS, Will Trent, Criminal Minds. Those shows kind of reach a slightly older audience, and they've been making less of them, but they're all still very much still stuck on linear. They're the ones that haven't fully broken away from cable yet. So two more pre-done questions and we'll be live for the rest of the show. Daniel says, what was your favorite announcement from each panel? So from the entertainment panel, probably Daredevil. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Baba, and from the theme parks, the cruise. Baba Trolling says, do you think that Disney Plus will add Hulu playlists in the next few months? Maybe not straight away. Maybe next year. Right, let's see what we've got in the live chat. Let's see what we've got. That boy says, do you think Filoni has been set up to become the head of Lucasfilm? It was strange seeing all the studio heads except for Kathleen Kennedy at the panels. I don't know about Filoni because he comes across a little bit like he's much more of a creative. He's much more about creating stuff. I don't think he's wants to be on the business side of things in the same way. So I think I don't think he's the right person. I would probably be more inclined. I would think someone maybe like Jon Favreau might be more inclined, that he might be more being pushed to go into that position. Out of everyone working there, he's the guy that now I'd be like, I could see him going for that. But he might have to give up being able to direct stuff and so on. The fact that she wasn't there, she might not want to have been booed. There's that aspect. They might have felt that they didn't want to bring her on and get some negativity on Star Wars. I do think she is at a point now where she has created some of the greatest movies or been a part of so many of the greatest movies. But there's little doubt that over the last 5 years that some of her choices that as an executive are questionable. And they haven't had the hits in some ways of like, you look at like Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm to say, they're kind of on par of, do you feel like Marvel has made changes to correct itself? Deadpool and Wolverine just being this massive $1 billion movie right now. A win changes everything. They had a really bad one with the Marvels. They had Ant-Man and the Wasp. They've had a few bad series drop that haven't quite hit. And I think with Marvel is there's a sense that things are moving in the right direction and things are moving because it's like a forward plan. Lucasfilm is in a bit of a weird one where they've still been throwing spaghetti against the wall and there's no plan to keep moving forward. I think with Star Wars as well, it's constantly jumping around all the different time zones is too confusing and it doesn't give them any focus. It's like if you want to do the Mandoverse, it's like it would have been better for you to have done the Mandoverse after Ray of Sky. If they'd set Mandoverse and did this after the First Order or after like Ray, they could have then set that story off in any which direction and they could have gone anywhere because they wouldn't have been tied into locking it into everything else. I think Lucasfilm needs to start realizing that they just got to go forward rather than keep filling in of like, oh, that person in this movie at this one time mentioned something, so now we're going to make an entire movie and series about what they said for 2 seconds. It's like, it's not important. Move forward. I think that's where Star Wars needs to move forward with. Keenan says, is a curated list like Paramount Plus? I don't know if we got them on here in the UK. I don't know if ours is different. Chris thought the Snow White trailer looked better than Pinocchio. Well, that was awful. That boy thought it was okay. Keenan hasn't watched the trailer yet. So looking here, 40% of you now thought the trailer for Snow White was meh. And 17% of you say not sure. So that's 57%. Oh, we just had a jump there. That boy is looking exciting for the Monsters Inc. ride. I think that'll be good. Daniel says, can they make a new bundle with Peacock? No chance. The way you got to remember, they are literally in court, right? Or they're literally trying to go through the system now of trying to get rid of their last deal. They've got a couple of deals with there, so I don't think they want to do it. What was your biggest takeaway from D23? It was an ice cream. We went down to the beach last night on Friday night. We went down to the beach and had an ice cream. That was sweet. We treated. Yeah, no, that's not the answer you're looking for. I'd definitely say, I think to me, it felt like the entertainment panel was like, it was solid. It was banger after banger, big franchise after franchise. It's going to be hit with a few little misses in between. I think they were hitting the right points. They weren't promising you stuff that's too far away. I think the Parks panel kind of was in the same vein of lots of great stuff for Park fans to be looking forward to. Absolute mess with the gaming aspect to it. The gaming side of it was a colossal mess. All the games journalists, websites, and people that I follow in the gaming community, like, where's Kingdom Hearts? Where's the new Star Wars game? Where's the new Marvel game? Like, where's all the gaming stuff? Like, they were expecting like a big like Xbox presentation, and there was a little bit of Fortnite in it. So that was difficult. So that was it. Big thank you for Derek. Thank you so much for your super chat. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for your support. I wish Disney Warner Brothers included an annual subscription to the new bundle. I enjoy all 3 platforms. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think it's a really good option. I think it is a good option for that one. I think I'm surprised they don't do more of these annual ones, but it might be more tricky with them because of the fact that they're 2 separate companies. And let's be honest, would you like to make a bet on where Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be in a year right now? Ken said, if Peacock does do a bundle, it's likely going to merge with Paramount Plus, since Universal and Paramount have joint ventures overseas. I could see Hulu sub-licensing library media to Hulu on Disney Plus. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think Paramount is likely to bundle up, and I think Paramount and with Peacock and Comcast makes a lot of sense. So Susan says, how many phases do you think Marvel have before they end it forever? Keenan says 9 phases and 3 sagas. It ain't ending. This isn't ending. The only chance this has of ending is when it stops making money. And the simple truth is Marvel has got a lot of, they can just keep rebooting it and keep bringing it in. I think the thing what we have to do with the Marvel characters is we have to start getting used to the Marvel characters, not so much resetting. but doing like a Batman and like we do with Spider-Man and stuff, where we start looking at these characters that they can be interplaceable. So if Captain America, if Chris Evans no longer wants to be him anymore, fine. Who's the next Captain America? Like they do with James Bond and all the rest of it. I think we have to move Marvel. I don't think we can go back, and I don't think they can reboot it, because how many times can Spider-Man get bit by a spider? How many times can Hulk get, impacted by, radioaction and stuff? You can only do an origin so many times. And I do think there is a limit. I think we're just going to see more and more team ups, and the stories are just going to get more and more going along. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's it. Caleb said we did that one. Caleb said the Snow White trailer looks okay. I know on the press tour it was a mess since the far left hates Gadot while the far right hates it. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, and you could tell that Ziegler was trying not to do stuff, but she does. The trouble is with those videos is she only has to look in a slight different direction, and yeah, they're all over the place with it. Okay, so I remember reading that the multiverse saga could have been better if Disney didn't constantly executive meddling. Part of it was Chapek's vote, Iger's successor, better need not meddle at all. I think the trouble is I don't think it's so much just the meddling. It feels a little bit like they just got crazy. Endgame, just like they were on I would say like a power trip, where they were like, we can do anything and we're going to make loads of money and we can do whatever stories we want, and we've got all these different things that we could do, and we could do all this stuff, and the fans are going to love every bit of it, and we can do all these characters that we've not got, and we've got Disney Plus, and we can just keep making. And Chapek wants me to make 150 shows a year. I can do all this stuff, and then they had to deliver on it, and it just fell to pieces because they got distracted with they had too many projects on the go at once. Sean says, I noticed one thing with D23 is the lack of announcements for another Pirates movie. I guess they cancelled 2 or 3 upcoming Pirates film that they had planned, or they're saving that for CinemaCon. Again, CinemaCon is more about just getting the cinema owners on side for what's coming up over the next year, in order to kind of get them like how many screens they have and stuff like that. CinemaCon is not really for that announcements kind of things in that way. Again, Pirates of the Caribbean, it might just be in a case where it's just not ready yet, and Disney have really been screwed over by constantly announcing stuff too early. Way too early of announcing things, and I think they might have cottoned on to the idea of maybe don't announce stuff until you've got your contracts sorted and you've got dates started, and maybe you've started doing a little bit of filming. I think they got burned by just announcing things way too early in advance and getting a bit carried away. Barbara Trolling says, what does Warner Brothers Discovery taking a write down mean? So they did it, and also Paramount did it. Essentially, the linear cable companies, the TV channels, they're not as valuable as they used to be. So I don't know. Let's say, take for instance, this can of Coke is, I bought it say for £1, and I'm valuing it at, and now, its price has gone up over time. Now it's valued at like £1.50, £2, maybe even at some point. But now, I come back to this tomorrow morning, and it's flat, and it's warm, and nobody wants it, and it's open. So now it's actually probably only worth 20p. So therefore, I've taken and in tax term, my asset is reduced by say 80p, and therefore, in order to get a tax break, it's a little bit along the lines. It's like with a car, the way the value of that property. Normally, you want really for your assets to go up in value, but they're writing stuff off the debt because Warner Brothers and Paramount have got a lot of debt. Keenan says, I also remember when Black Widow was basically a part of due to Disney Plus Premier Plus. Yeah, well, I think we've got to put some of these things with big asterisks of like, this was they were just, again, trying some stuff out. Okay, so speaking of Coke, I like that Disney and Coke have successfully partnership. That being said, I hope Coke considers Disney branded sparkling water. Well, I hope not, because Coca-Cola, and was it which one is Dasani? Is Dasani the Coca-Cola? Because like that brand here in the UK got absolutely destroyed, because here in the UK the concept of just bottling tap water got destroyed by the press. Nobody brought it, and they had to pack it up and get rid of it because we didn't like it. When I went to Disney World, they only serve Coke. Yeah, they've got like a deal in place where they got this really, really big deal. Alfonso, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, so I can't answer what that is. Matt says, what new Marvel character do you want to see them add? What do you mean? To add them to what? To Fortnite, to the theme parks? I don't know. I'm just going to see if there's anything here. Dasani is under Coca-Cola. I know is the other brand under Coke that lost Pepsi's bubbling sparkle. Again, so a lot of this stuff, obviously, the changes depending on countries, but like here in the UK, bottled water is from springs, and for mineral water, it has to have a certain. There was a really good video, and I don't know why I watched this. It was Food Wars, and they were comparing American water to English water. It was just like, I was like, why am I watching? I watched this for half an hour about the difference between the bottles of water. Kevin says, do you think Joker Part 2 will be the success for Warner Bros. Discovery? No, because it's a musical. I don't think it's going to have the same impact that first one did. I don't think it's the movie that people want it to be. It's obviously going to have a lot of interest in it, but if it doesn't have that same like hype with it, I watched it. I thought it was okay, but again, it was always that kind of weird thing of it was a bit like Venom in that same way of like I need for Joker, I need to be Batman. I need there to be a Batman, and it just doesn't. Yeah. Coca-Cola is similar to the Disney logo, and Tim Hortons is also similar to the Disney logo. Would you say Tim? I'll be honest. I did go to Tim Hortons back in May. We were in Canada on vacation, and I went because we had literally a Tim Hortons under our hotel. I went in there and I had to look at what options they had, and I literally walked out because I'm like, the food in there looked awful. Looks absolutely awful. Matt says, do you think Disney would buy any Warner Brothers shows? They might license some stuff. I mean, things like Abbott Elementary and The Bachelorette are made by Warner Brothers, and Disney buy that one. The original Joker movie was a success, first rated R $1 billion movie on a production. It was, but it was also a really good movie, and it impacted on like comic book fans. But I think the second one is not going to be the same thing. Kevin says, I wasn't shocked or surprised that Disney put out sequels instead of original films. It makes money, and I think that's what, as much as everyone moans about the fact that they're being sequels, the simple truth is they put out original stuff, no one goes and sees it. They put out a poster. If they could put up a poster for Elio and a poster for Toy Story 5, which one gets all the attention on social media? Toy Story 5. Elio doesn't get anything. I don't know anything about that movie, Alfonso, so I don't know, I'm afraid. Also, do you think Stanley will be on? Stanley? I'm not sure what that is either. These are some random shows and stuff, I'm afraid. Just checking I've not got any other questions. Right. I think, to be honest, what we might do, speaking of Warner Bros. Shows, the Drew Carey show is available on Plex. It's historic since the show had a hard time due to get into all the music deal. What do you think of Disney used to be profitable in theaters? I think with theaters is so I've got Kayla's one. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it does end up on Hulu. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, that one. I remember watching that one as well on Comedy Central. I think to be profitable in theaters, they have to be committed to theaters. And I think this current system of giving cinemas a few months is helping. I think there's definitely that feeling of You know, it's not like Warner Brothers Discovery where movies are sort of, I think like Comcast and Universal are the worst, like 2-3 weeks. I think they kind of need, I do think there's a kind of catch-22 of like, it's like Inside Out 2 of like coming to digital in like a week's time. And it's like, could it have waited another month? Would that have helped? They've got to give cinemas long enough. Also, and this is the other big thing, the movies have to be good. If the movies are good, people will go see them. And that is fundamentally the big thing. If you make movies that people don't like the look of, or they don't do, you got to get the marketing right. But also as well, they got to keep the marketing and the budgets under better control. Can't be spending the amount of money that they're on some of these movies. And yeah, and I think also having more variety helps. I think that's going to be a different one-off. Will they make a Wreck-It Ralph 3? I wish they do. I love those movies, but I don't know. I think there's a much better chance of a Wreck-It Ralph 3 now because of they want to do more franchises and stuff. Kim says if Pixar never put out originals exclusively on Disney Plus and release it, they make easier. Again, a lot of this stuff was situational. They had to kind of do that one. Right. On that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for all your continued support. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for the super chat, Derek. Thanks to everyone that is a YouTube channel member. I'll be back tomorrow. We're back to normal scheduled after D23 is over. So it'll just be news updates throughout the week. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. And I shall see you guys soon. Laters.